Hello, this is Crypto CJ. Welcome to today's trade of the day. It's the Monday night Zoom edition, and we have had a wild ride with Bitcoin. Big crashing starting on Thursday and Friday, kind of sideways over the weekend, another dip this morning, and then a pretty good recovery. Seems to be following the stock market. Let's look at the charts. We'll start with Bitcoin. Okay, you guys should be seeing my Bitcoin 1 hour chart.
Yes.
All right, very good.
CJ, does day trading, is it easy? I'm gonna have to put him to bed.
Yeah, let's do that and then get back to me. Sounds like you have a general question, so let's get to that after we go over the charts a little bit. So, all right, so the mischief started here on the 20th. And we had the big drop we talked about on Friday. Well, we didn't get this far, obviously, because this is Saturday. A little bit of recovery, then another drop early this morning. Then a pretty nice recovery up here. We're over 37 or over 36 now. So we did get as high as 37.5, but we've given some of that back since. But oh shoot, I should not have the alerts, but yeah. So we're at 36.6 now. But what's causing all this? And for that, I've got the S&P 500 up. Unfortunately, as we discussed in some detail on Friday, and as Bryce discussed on Thursday, the Bitcoin and stock markets are still correlated, still viewed as at risk. So when there's fear, people are going to run to cash. And speaking of fear, I'm going to jump real quick to iCoinPro because they've got the fear and greed index, extreme fear, number 11. I don't know if I've ever seen it this low. So this is as of yesterday. So, those people are freaking out right now. But today's recovery should instill a little bit of confidence. But back over here to the S&P 500.
Should we wait for you to finish before asking questions, or can we?
If you have a question about something I'm talking about, feel free to jump in. So
yeah, the question I have is that usually a springboard for a lot of this is interest rate fears, and notice that from the Fed that they're going to give us 4 more drops this year.
Yep.
Or 5, or how many they decide. With that on board, do you think we're going to see much relief this year? I know it's hard for you to answer that question, but it just seems they're going to keep assaulting us with this fear stuff.
Yeah, but they don't want to tank the markets and the economy either. So
are you sure about that?
No, but there are political consequences for that. So I don't want to get too political, but having the stock market crater during any president's tenure is bad for that president. And we have the midterms coming up later this year. So a strong stock market, and hopefully which correlates to a good crypto market, is going to be helpful to the ruling party. But the powers that be may not care about that, and may think that cooling down inflation is a higher priority. I don't know. It's
well, historically speaking,
to me anyway. But
historically speaking, the midterm is usually whoever is in power, presidentially speaking. They suffer at that midterm point anyway. Sure. So
yeah. But
so who cares?
Yeah. But I do think interest rates and how they play out and how the Fed handles it's going to make definitely make some difference in how the stock market and how the crypto markets go. And then today, just real quick, we had this drop in the morning on the S&P 500, dropped 3%, then came back, 1.63% up. So I think that pretty much describes the similar movement in the crypto markets today. So, and finally on Ethereum, well, actually, I was going to talk about where I see these playing out. Let me go to the day chart. So I think this is kind of interesting, especially since I added the divergences to my basic chart. We haven't had a bullish divergence of any kind, since July, and that was just a momentum indicator. We had pretty much all the indicators of bullish divergence in June, and we had a little pump, a drop, and then a big pump. And that's frequently what happens on these bigger charts. You'll get maybe you'll get a divergence, you'll get a pump, a pullback, and then a bigger pump. So if any of you guys watch Crypto Banter or some of those shows on YouTube, it's more about swing trading, hodling than
Doesn't stick up.
then you'll see that pattern frequently discussed. So what I would see happening is like maybe a pump and then a pullback down to maybe between 33 and 30, and then a bigger move up, next week. But that's what I'm looking for. But if you disagree with me, don't worry about it, because I'm wrong more than I'm right when I discuss the market in the long term, which is probably why I stick to day trading. But anyway, I think it's important to at least try to look at the longer term charts and get the big picture. So
CJ, what I was going to ask is, with this great volatility, is that better for day trading, or you don't like it when it's this volatile?
it's a good question. I frequently trade, and I've been doing this for probably a little over a month now, is I usually have longs and shorts going at the same time. So what happened to me when this crash, for lack of a better word, happened, is my shorts did fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm getting like 30, 40, 50%, at 10x leverage, including 10x leverage. So those did really well. And then I'm in a dozen or so long positions that look pretty brutal. And doesn't make me second guess my ladder buying and holding approach, which minimizes losses, but does keep me stuck sometimes,
Yeah.
especially in situations like this. We're traders who use stop losses, got out of all these, but they took some losses. But they do have more capital than I do right now to buy the dip. So I find personally, when I do that kind of strategy, the market drops, takes out my stop loss, and then bounces back up. So it doesn't help me. So, a stop loss works to preserve capital when it's a big drop, and then you can take that same amount of capital that you just got back and put it into, a much better position. So it's a constant, battle, in my mind, since I originally learned the ladder buying technique, or dollar cost averaging, first. It was one of my primary strategies. I tend to lean towards that, and I just like it better because it minimizes losses, but it has forced me to be patient for weeks at a time, for those positions to come back. So it's kind of a long-winded answer to your question, but
Thank you.
But since most of you, a lot of you guys are spot trading, and you're starting as, dabbling in day trading, yeah, moves like this can be difficult to endure. And then you have a decision to make. If you've lost 20 or 30% of your position, and it's inhibiting your ability to trade, and maybe you've got 3 or 4 coins, you might want to dump one, take the loss, free up some capital, and then buy into something else. Depending on where you think we are, like I just described a little while ago, I think we might have another pullback, and then a move. So when you are buying the dip at these levels, you may want to go in at, half to a third, like I talked about on Friday. So
Okay.
all right. So with Bitcoin, yeah, I want to see this 29 to 30 area hold as a bottom. Feel better if we held at like 35. that became the new bottom. If we keep having these kind of like we had this drop here down to 41, then it shot up to 68. If this 35 is the new bottom and it shoots up to 73 and then it drops down to 42, and then, that's something we can work with. So what I don't want to see is a big giant drop down to 20 or something. That would be bad.
So if you were coming in right now to do this, you would come in down near the bottom, and then you would set stop losses going up, or I don't know, limit orders, I forget what you call them, but so that you're only taking 50% as each goes up?
Well, that's one way to do it. I don't teach that. A lot of traders do that, and that's a good strategy. But I prefer to just sell my whole position at once, even if I'm swing trading. But I talk about mostly day trading on here. So, if you're only going for 2 or 3 or 4% on a chart, what you describe is sort of impractical. But if you're doing more of a swing trade and you're looking for 10 or 20%, which is actually reasonable given this current drop, yeah, something like that's a good idea.
So how would you do it then? Like the way you do it, where would you go in?
I can give you an example. Well, not really. I'm up, I'm in XLM right now on a leverage trade, and I'm up about 30%, about 35% on 10x leverage. So I set a stop loss to preserve about a 20% profit. So if it does dump on me, I save that profit. That's how I
Okay.
use stop losses. I use stop losses to preserve profit, not necessarily to exit trades in a loss. So, I don't feel really comfortable in teaching or talking about using stop losses, to avoid loss, a significant loss, because I don't really trade that way, even though I've been criticized for that many times. So there's people in the AA group who think I'm crazy for trading like that, but it's how I learned. So, all right, let's look at Ethereum, and then we'll go over to Altcoin Alert. I'm looking at Ethereum to hold this line here around 1750. We touched that several times over the summer. We haven't dipped below 2000 yet on Ethereum, so I think that that's sort of an intermediate hold or bottom. I'm hoping that we hang on to and then bounce from. But again, I think we're gonna bounce, go up, and then probably retrace, and then have a bigger move. That's what the crypto banter guys say that usually is how this works. So we'll see how that plays out. Any questions on Bitcoin, Ethereum, or the market in general before we go over to Altcoin Alert? Okay. Actually, let me make a little statement here before we do this. There's been some, I don't know if you guys are in the Altcoin Alert Slack group, but there's been some posts, I read them today from some people I respect, talking about, there's a lot of complaining and things like that when Bryce or Aaron recommends a coin, or whether it's marketing Altcoin Alert and then people come in, they don't get the results they want or that they expect because they think it's going to be kind of a cure-all. Part of that might be a function of the marketing. I haven't seen any of the ads since I joined, a year and a half ago. But Altcoin Alert, iCoinPro, Carbon, all the things that, I have multiple information sources that I use, but that's all they are, is information sources. And none of them are going to protect you from a Bitcoin dump. If Bitcoin crashes and burns out of nowhere, and it does that sometimes, it did it recently, don't get mad at at Bryce for posting a project he feels strongly about, or an AA score or something like that. There's nothing that the that the bot, not the bot, but the algorithm's gonna do to necessarily detect that. They can maybe pick up some of it in the chatter and Twitter, but generally speaking, there's not much they can do about it. So don't be surprised if from time to time you do everything right and then you get crushed because Bitcoin dumps 10, 15%, that happens. So that's my little spiel. And let's get over to Altcoin Alert. See if we can find some trades today. Okay, we've got the there we go. Okay, I'm sorting by the AA score. I am on altcoin radar. I don't like using the dashboard. I'd rather use this and have all the information in front of me. And I turn easy mode off. So this way I get all the different sorts. I'm gonna sort by the AA score first. And quick reminder, especially from some of you new folks, this is pretty much independent of all the other stuff on here. So don't be surprised to see you see a high AA score and then bearish, negative 5%, things like that. So AA score is trying to predict. It's telling us that quant has a 78.7 chance based on the current information of going up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. So that's the kind of move we're looking for based on this information on the AA score. So we don't have any very bullish right now, which is kind of a bummer. But I do like quant and I like Luna. And these are both considered bullish. So we'll go ahead and look at least we'll go ahead and look at quant first. That's on Coinbase Pro. And we'll bring up my full chart. We'll go to the day to get the big picture, but a lot of them are going to look like this, big drop. This one dropped.
That looks a lot better than some of the other charts we've seen.
Well, this is the day chart, dropped like 50%. Most of the coins have dropped, 30 to 50% in the last few days. And quant is no exception. On the hour, did have some movement up today. I think we're going to see a lot of the charts look like this. Let's see if there's something that we can do now. Trending up, sitting on the SMA line. I'm not really seeing an entry here. I don't see a dip sequence that I like. This was a pretty good one here, but it was long. So this is where I go to my alerts. I rarely make a trade when I first look at something anymore. I wait till I get an alert and a setup that I like. So and I do most of my alerts for day trading on the 15-minute chart. I find that I can usually get just get better entries, or the moves have completed more on the 15-minute than they have on the 5. You can be even more conservative and go to the half hour, the 1 hour charts. But for my day trading, I like to set alerts on the 15-minute chart. And I've talked about this many times this month, but I'll go ahead and, excuse me, here's the kind of alerts I like to set. I like this All Divergences indicator. You can find this here. Just type in divergence. And this is the one I like, the mini indicators version 4, 10,000 downloads. A lot of people like this indicator. And you can put alerts on it too, which is cool. So in this situation on quant, if I want to buy a long, I can right click, alert on divergence. It defaults to the first one listed, negative. I don't want negative, I want positive. And I like once per bar close. And then you call it, AA score purchase. Yeah, that's one I have left over. And that one's good to go. Click create, and there you go. So your divergence alert is set. And quickly, divergence is a disagreement between the indicators and the price action. So this All Divergences indicator, and I've taken a few of them out, but some of the most popular indicators are the MACD, histogram, RSI, stochastic, momentum. and then you can look these up and see what they do. I don't have time to explain all of them here, but there is a predictive value to divergence, which is why a lot of traders like it. It doesn't work very well on short time frames, I found the hard way. So it works better. 15 is about as low as you want to go for divergence. It works quite a bit better on the hour. I just added a couple hour Bitcoin divergence alerts to let me know when that's in play. But yeah, so like here's an example here is we got bullish divergence here when at the bottom of this dip. And then, it shot up, but it works about, and you got to confirm it too. You got to look at other indicators. You can't just rely on this. So, I mean, we got a red candle afterwards. I don't think you get in, but here's a green candle. Then you get, the money factor index going up and the RSI going up, the MACD crosses. So all those good things happen. So you might want to get in this situation. It goes up a little bit, then just kidding, drops 4%. But then it goes up 5%, down, and then it makes a pretty nice move, 13%, actually 15%. So I like divergence for that kind of approach. It helps me get better entries. Another indicator I like is this MFI. You can set an alert down, on your on your money factor, your money flow. This is how it's like it sounds, money flowing in and out of the project. Right click on here, add an alert. I like using crossing up on the 20 value. The 20 is the dotted line on the bottom. And once per bar close and you're good to go. So what'll happen with this one, since I got divergence, I'm not going to do this one, but if divergence is weird to you, it took me a while to get used to the concept. If you're new, you may not want to deal with it, but money flow is easy to understand. Okay, when the money is down and then going back up, that's a pretty good sign that that the coin's going up, or should go up. You can see down here, where it went down below the 20 and came back up. Went down and came back up, and then a stronger move.
Is there a slight delay between that and what the candles are doing?
Yes. All indicators are lagging. So that's why you have to match up your candle action with your indicators, and you'll get better entries that way. Some traders don't look at indicators at all. They only look at candle action because candle action is now. And I understand that. And I have traded that way before with some success, but I like using both. The more confirmations I have in my entry, the better I feel. So like right now, I wouldn't want to get in on the 15-minute chart because I got 3 candles dropping, MFI pointing down hard, RSI pointing down hard. So, these aren't good for longs at the moment. So, and we can take a quick look at Bitcoin, maybe on the 5-minute chart, just to see what it's doing in the short term. And it dipped a little. It's kind of going sideways right now. So it's not really helping us. And then finally, one of my favorite alerts to do is the RSI, which is one of the speedier indicators. So it's just like I showed you on the MFI. Instead of doing the 20, we do the 30. Once crossing up on the 30 value, once per bar close. So that's how you do that. And you can see here on the 15-minute chart, when it goes below the 30 value and starts to come back up, it did dip again, but it then made a really nice move. And more often than not, once it's been below the 30 and comes back up, it's usually going to continue up, usually pretty close to the 50 area, which is usually going to be a 1 to 3% move to the upside, depending on what coin you're looking at. So any questions on quant or the alerts I just described? And it's okay if you don't understand all these yet. You can watch you know, my prior videos, or you can just do searches in YouTube for, you know, how to use the MFI, how to use the RSI, you know, things like that. And to get a better feel for what, you know, what these indicators can do. And there's dozens of strategies based on these indicators, and I've tried and dabbled with a lot of them. And so this is why I set up my basic chart this way. These are my favorites. You know, divergence, MFI, RSI, MACD. So, and I use these to try to find the beginnings of trends for retraces and pullbacks, which is which is sort of the 1, 2, 3 dip strategy. Most of you guys have seen that. It's in that category. So, all right, so that's quant. Let's, there was another one over there, an Altcoin Alert on the AA score that, yeah, let's look at Luna. Okay, day chart. Our Luna hit $100 not that long ago, and then a pretty big drop. Friend of mine got caught in this. Poor guy. Yeah, about a 50% drop, a little bit of an improvement today. On the hour, dropped. But yeah, here's an example where, see, we're on the hour chart, and we got 2 divergences flagged here, but they weren't very useful. So that's why you got to look at, like on this divergence, the MFI was going up, but the RSI was going down. So I wouldn't take that trade. I want to see both of these going my way. Anyway, yeah, so we just have some choppiness here on the hour, trending down a little bit now, hanging around $65.
CJ,
Yes.
never mind, you changed the chart.
Well, I can go back. Do you want to look at something on the hour chart?
Yeah, where you just were. I just wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, see, almost where your cross is, see that green, the green thing there, right there.
Yeah.
Now, those 2 boxes, would one of those been a good trade to start? And if so, how would you have set it up? Like if you retraced it, kind of.
Yeah, what the line's showing you is it's showing you that this is the candle action here going down.
Yep.
And then this MFI is one of the indicators. I don't have the momentum or the histogram. Well, actually I have yeah. Well, the MFI is this is a really good example of divergence here, because the candle action is going down, and then in the same time frame, you know, the indicator is going up.
Right.
That's divergence.
Right. And how would you set up, like, number wise with the trade? Like if I was going to say, hey, I recognize that's divergent and I want to put a trade in, how would I do that the way you do it?
Well, we're on the hour chart now. I don't usually initiate trades on the hour chart.
Okay.
We're gonna go to a smaller time frame, but
Yep.
okay, this is at 1 a.m. I don't usually trade then either, but
this is just for learning purpose.
yeah. Okay, so let's go over to the 5-minute chart. You know, at 1 a.m. we would have seen something like this. So I'm at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. I like that. Candle action's trending up. I like that. I've got the MFI trending up and the RSI trending up, and the MACD about to cross. So I've got, you know, some indicators that are showing me that this has potential. So I probably would have taken this trade, you know, right around here,
which is
at 63.21.
Okay.
Take. It goes up to, you know, 64.63 with 2%. My exit I probably would have looked at this group of candles here, gone for 3.7%, and I would have missed. So it drops 5%, comes back up here. I might reevaluate at this point. I'm at 2.3%. But if I say, no, I'm going to stick to my original plan, then it drops again. Maybe I do an additional ladder buy down here, maybe not 6%. I usually do my ladder buys around 8 to 10%,
Okay,
but I'm patient, I stay in. And then I do get my target right about here.
okay.
So I'm in this trade for about 8 hours and I get my 4%. So that's
Okay.
probably how I would have handled that had I been up at 1 a.m. and seen this configuration.
I'm always up at 1 a.m. I'm such a bad insomniac. I could do some cheap trading.
Yeah, you know, since that's a good time to make trades though, because you know
It
the
is
Asian
cheap.
markets are pumping, and you know it's there's usually more action then than there is, excuse me, at say 1 p.m. in the U.S.
Yeah.
All right, so Luna on the 5-minute chart right now, do we have a trade? And not really. It's kind of hovering between the bottom of the Bollinger Band and the SMA line on the 5-minute chart. Got 4 divergences here on the 5-minute, but you know, these aren't the most reliable. If you want, you know, it's mostly trending down, but it's hooking up here on the MFI, RSI as well. It's just not really showing me anything that's confidence inspiring. So I'd probably do, you know, an alert on the 15-minute chart, like I showed you on quant. So either on divergence or we're almost down to the 20 on MFI, not that close to the 30 on the RSI. So probably go for the RSI alert. Usually, I think if you're choosing between 3 different indicators, choose the one least likely to happen. That'll put you in the best position to get a good entry point. Obviously, the downside of that approach is you may miss the trade. So, all right. So, any questions on Luna? Okay. On Altcoin Alert, what I've used the most, as opposed to the AA score, is this long-term sentiment sort. I like this a lot. Talked about it a lot this month, and some in December and November, since Josh Frank introduced this to us. I've used it more on the short side than the long. On the very bullish right now, we've got 2 coins I barely heard of. I have traded just on bullish before, but I'm looking for one other confirmation when I use this sort. So if I see like very bullish, I'd want to see at least bullish on the daily Elder Impulse too. That's a technical combination of technical indicators. Bryce likes this one a lot. I'm not seeing anything like that right now.
So you wouldn't consider the altcoin score plus the long-term sentiment as 2 triggers?
You know, that's a good point. I have before, but I'd rather have, since the Elder Impulse is a technical tool, I like the combination of the technical and the sentiment, where the AA score is a combination of the sentiment and the technical. So I think there's some overlap there, but it's not, you know, I wouldn't rule that out necessarily. So if you like what you see and you see an AA score and a long-term sentiment in your favor, I think that would be reasonable.
Can we look at Robonop? I can't talk.
Robonomics XRT.
Thank you.
All right.
I can't talk.
I think I looked at this once before. Let's see where it is. It's on Huobi. Never traded on Huobi. And that's terrible volume. So no,
Yeah.
don't do this.
Okay.
Yeah, you see these horizontal lines, that means no trades.
Oh, is that what it means? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, you've got horizontal lines on the 15-minute chart. That's terrible.
Oh boy.
Even a few on the 1 hour. Yeah, so let's say just for fun, we had some decent volume on this. Since we're on the chart, we'll take a quick look on the day chart. Pretty big drop from November, but most coins have on the 1 hour. Yeah, big drop recently. 5 minutes. Yeah, hanging around the SMA line, not a good entry. So if you feel strongly about trading this,
Mm-mm.
yeah, go to the 15-minute. And you've heard this from me 2 other times on 2 other coins. So set your alerts. You know, it's been a while since I've talked about it, since I've been doing most of my alerts on indicators. It's okay to set alerts on the chart too. If you want to, I mean, this is bubbling out. So a 1, 2, 3 dip trade would probably hit around here, around $5.30. You know, so that would be, if you want to put a low buy order alert here, you know, just add an alert and, you know, low buy order. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So if you're not real comfortable with using these indicators yet, using price action is really good too. So, all right, any questions on XRT and Altcoin Alert? I'm at about 40 minutes now, so I need to move over to iCoinPro.
Oh, time for me to go.
Oh no, that's iCoinPro is something.
Oh, I
That's
still,
our second one. Yeah,
okay, good.
I won't kick you out till Carbon. So. All right, iCoinPro. This is the conservative day trading platform. I've sent most of you guys have seen their 1, 2, 3 dip training. If you only do that trade approach, you should be reasonably successful in day trading. Well, you need to add ladder buying as well. Don't know if they have free trainings on that, but they do have that 1, 2, 3 dip training, which is I think very valuable. And this is one of the tools that they have. It's called the Buddy Coin Crawler. I'm going to start with RSI Spy, because this one's really interesting right now. Well, it changed a lot since I looked at this about 2 hours ago. All right, so I like to sort this tool, the RSI Spy, based on the 1 hour RSI. And we talked a little bit about the RSI on the charts a little while ago. I'm gonna sort by, I'm gonna look for longs, looking for values 30 and below on the 1 hour. And we don't have any because we've had a pretty nice move up this past afternoon. And why I thought this was interesting is because I was seeing a bunch of values in the red. That means they're overbought on the 1 hour, but on the 1 day, we got these green ones, which is below 30, which means they're oversold. So these are sort of contradictory. We got oversold on the 1 day, overbought on the 1 hour. So with this kind of contradictory information, I probably wouldn't do much with this. So this is sort of a lesson on what not to do. Yeah, if you see this setup or the other way around, you know, green and red, that might be something to stay away from.
How come you have some of the, on the left, some of those are marked and some of them aren't? Day was down before it went away. See over on the left where some things are on, some things are off. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, you can, there's another tool called Trade Finder that I don't use very much, that it will, if you click it on, then that'll be included in the Trade Finder. I guess I can show
Oh,
it.
I get it. Okay.
It's just kind of slow. See,
Okay,
it's
so-
finding alerts. It'll show you if there's a squeeze or a dip.
Oh, cool.
A better approach than using this particular tool is to go to your Buddy Coin Crawler. We're going to talk about this now. And I sort from the average low to the SMA, and I'm looking for values 10% or higher. And that's your average low, the average 24-hour low of the coin to the SMA line, which is that pink line you see between the Bollinger Bands on my charts. So since we had the big drop this morning and a big recovery, we got a lot of coins over 10%, those values. So, but I think we're too late on most of these. This is one I looked at earlier, perpetual protocol. I'm looking for volume of 10 million or more. This just does qualify. The USDT pair on Coinbase Pro does not. But we've got one, the USD pair almost does. Let's look at the Binance. Okay, the day chart. Pretty big drop. In the 1 hour, some recovery, but not much. And then this is what we're talking about, that, you know, that value to the SMA line from the low, you know, over almost 13%. So we like that. But now we're kind of in a squeeze. We don't have that much distance between the Bollinger Bands. 5.5%, not bad, but I'd rather see something like this. You know, 1, 2, 3. It's a really good 1, 2, 3 dip pattern right there. Get your green candle. You know, to the SMA line, 6.7%, and you're out in less than 3 hours, 6%. That's a really good day trade. But for the moment, got 3 candles going up on the 5-minute, strong movement on the indicators. Maybe you get in here. Divergence on the 5-minute chart 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. Maybe. I probably want to catch it down here on the indicators. Wait for a dip sequence, especially with Bitcoin being so uncertain at the moment. Like we talked about earlier in the, you know, in the program, if you are getting in on trades, you may want to go half to a third of your usual amount, just in case you need to buy another position to support it. I think this would be in that category. All right, we will look at one more. Let's see what else we got here. Polka starter. Don't really have any very well-known projects listed here. And Binance has all these new weird, you know, gaming tokens and sports team tokens and things like that, but those can be popular, and they also sometimes resist Bitcoin drops. So that's what I like about those. But Spell I've traded before. Let's look at that. All right, Coinbase, day chart. Not much history.
It just came out.
But it did, yeah. It was listed in December. Big drop. I don't know if history is really going to help us with that anyway. So in that situation, I'll often look at another exchange, see if it was on Binance or KuCoin or something that tends to get listings ahead of Coinbase. So, okay, on the 1 hour, pretty good recovery today. 5-minute. It's starting to bubble out a little bit, so I wouldn't want to buy it yet. Some support between about 69 and 71 with a few zeros in front of it. So you could put an alert on the chart in this vicinity, or go to your 15-minute chart. And
Now here you have on the MFI, it's going up, but the RSI still going down.
yep, that's a disagreement. I don't like that. So that's going to discourage me from wanting to trade it until I see you know, some agreement there. So
Now, would doing an alert down in one of those sections, like in other words, midway, like so that if it was coming up, would that be something that you alert you would set yourself?
Yeah, I talked about setting alerts as they go below, you know, on the
Right.
RSI, the 30 and the MFI and the 20. I think what you're talking about is putting one maybe here at 30 on the MFI
Yeah,
and
30 or a
showing,
little, yeah,
sure, I've done that before.
like 40.
30 or 40 up here, and you see it crossing, and the candle action looks good. You know, Bitcoin's moving. Yeah, that's a good way to catch it's more of a trend trade.
Yeah,
And that's fine. Catch a trend, lop off 1 or 2%. Yeah, you can do pretty well doing that. But it's not as proven, at least in my experience, as, you know, the dip trades and you know, divergence and things like that. But there's nothing wrong with catching a trend and you know, picking up a 1 or 2%. Just know it can go against you at any time.
yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I have time for on iCoinPro. Do you guys have any questions about Altcoin Alert, iCoinPro, or any of the concepts we talked about on the Zoom today? Are there any particular coins or projects you want to talk about? All right. Well, gone pretty far.
night,
Probably stop the
everybody.
recording. Thanks,
Have a good
Natalie, for your enthusiastic participation. I appreciate it.
So welcome.
Hope you learned something.
Every time I pick up a little more and a little more.
That's how it works, you know. You just be a sponge.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, guys. Have a good night.
All
Take
right, for
care.
those of you on the recording, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. For those of you who want to hang around for the carbon portion, that will start in about a minute.